I made a commitment to my mobility journey to do some sort of physical activity every day. So for the last few days it has been water therapy, and now I've been walking. Might not sound like a big deal to most, but believe you me, I have been sitting and looking at this area where I'm at from my apartment. And where is my apartment? Could I show you my apartment? I've lost. Yes, here is my apartment. So, oh dear, trying to find. Here we go. Yeah. So I think I've said it before, but this complex has all of 31 floors, and we are here on the 12th floor, over here somewhere. So yeah, so I made my commitment to start more physical activity. If I'm gonna get my mobility back, it's gonna come with a whole lot of activity. And you know, I look at this walking track, bicycle track, movement track, so whatever it is that persons are so inclined to do, our complex has the space for it. And you see all types of activity throughout the day, and I find that fascinating. Now this is a new complex, as I'd mentioned before, but there seems to be a lot of young people, like lots more young people I've seen anywhere in Colombia in one place. So not seeing their parents much. I guess somewhere like this you really have to be out making the bacon, working hard to pay the bills, but at least it is a secure environment where children can come home from school, and it's gated security, so for the most part parents do not need to be too concerned. Once they're in the complex, they're in, right? But a lot of other things can happen. But who am I to speak? I'm not getting into that. You do as best as you can, and all you can do is pray for the best. So today I want us to do a comparison. Today is the day I compare my stint in La República Dominicana with my stay in Colombia. And of course this is freestyle, so I don't have a paper that I wrote my comparisons on. But let's start with the people. The people here are milder. They are genteel, I think. So very pleasant. Will always greet you with a bon dia, and typically they have a smile that lights up their eyes. I have found though that the more affluent a community I find myself in, the less cordial, no, cordial isn't the word, less friendly. They will say hello, but it's more out of being bred properly than wanting to initiate a conversation. So like in the building we were at, as a matter of fact, I'll show you. The buildings are so close. In between these two buildings you see another building. That is the building, the complex that we came from. So just across the road, literally. In that complex, people were older. I saw more people my age, and they were more friendly. dollar for dollar income base. I am assuming that the per capita household here is greater, and there's more youthfulness in the occupants. However, they also seem to be less sociable. Got a lot of social spaces and lots of things to do. Don't have to leave the complex to remain active and all of the other things, but it's harder to connect. Oh, the gentleman that just went by in the green shirt on skates, he fell. I'm glad I wasn't videoing him, because then it would seem as though it was timidness, I don't know. But anyway, in DR, people are more friendly, or should I say, they come seeming more friendly, but for my liking, they seem more opportunistic. So in other words, it feels like as a foreigner, you're automatically seen as a source of cash, a cash cow, and so everyone wants to make something from you. Yeah, there goes my roller skater person. There didn't seem to be any way to make solid connections, at least not in the grand scheme of things. Food. The freshness of the food in DR had me wowed. Even though we're not big on eating out, but just the basic supermarketing, let's put it that way, the freshness was awe-inspiring and the variety was good. And so I was not sure what to expect when I came to Colombia. Colombia, you kind of have to dig a little deeper. Their layout and their supermarkets and the way their foods are positioned, it's not as readily available, visible, or you have to, it's kind of like Jamaica. You have to go different places to fulfill all of your shopping requirements. But that being said, as I dove a little deeper, I realized that there was an innate freshness here and a greater variety than in the DR. And let us just pause to talk about prices. Now, in Colombia, for grocery shopping, your dollar goes such a far way. It was a little bit confusing at first because it seemed as though dollar for dollar things were more affordable in the DR. But as we spent more time and kind of got around a little better and found that D1 supermarket, for example, is priced better than Éxito, and then you go to the meat shop on the corner, as opposed to getting your meats in the supermarket, you get a better price. So it's more shopping around, but freshness certainly, definitely a big thing here. And as I learned more about the agriculture, Colombia is a huge agricultural nation. A big part of their production, both for local consumption and for export, comes from locally produced goods. So of course, would be better priced, right? The reliance on pork products, though, it continues to blow my mind, because it seems as though chorizo is that sausage that I like. I forgot the name. There's this thing that they like, chicharron, which is just a pork belly with the pork fat that they seem to fry up, and it seems to be everybody's favorite food. You put some vinegar on it and then some lime juice, and everybody's like, wow. I'm like, we need to do some pork belly for them the way we do it. and see what that reaction would be like. But yeah, that's pretty much a Latin American thing. So they consume endless amounts of pork products. Amazing for me though was to see their chicken. In the DR, just like Jamaica, you can get whole chicken, and the typical thing is to purchase one chicken, for 300 and something pesos, Colombian pesos. But here, at least where we shop, they portion it based on the cut. So you can say you want 2 kilos of chicken, but then you need to kind of have them tell you or give you a certain amount of thighs and breasts and leg and all of that, and wings and so on, all for the same price. So that makes it very, very good. But dollar for dollar, and the price point, it is actually more affordable here. And the typical meal that would consist of 2 pieces of chicken, I struggle to finish 2 pieces of chicken here. They're so big and hearty, and they seem to not shrink in the pot. So we talk about food, let's talk about transportation. Uber is here and it's available on the app. I have not had to use it much because for the first time I have not had to go many places. This location that we chose, it pretty much has a lot of things within arm's reach. And then to make it even better, between the metro and the cable car and the buses, Desiree has a wonderful way to just move around for pennies on the dollar. So transportation wise, it has been very, very economical. And so the 1 or 2 times that we've had to do Uber, you don't even feel it. As it relates to the accommodation, prices here for Airbnb is much more reasonable. The furnishings are not as high quality as in DR, but they are quite functional. In the DR, you would get a 1-bedroom apartment. For the same price, you will get a 2-bedroom, 2 full bath here, or even a little less. So we took advantage of that, doing longer stays and not having to change as frequently from one location to the other. And I think too, because in the DR the demand is greater. Here it is not as much, and so the availability is better. Of course, there are so many other things that I could talk about, but I leave space for you to ask me those specific questions. And remember, we're on our way to 350 subscribers, and I would certainly love all the help I can get for that to happen. So click the subscribe button, like this video, and turn on the post notification bell so that you will be informed whenever I load the next video. Just before I go though, one of my biggest challenges in the DR as a Spanish speaker was understanding their brand of Spanish, because it is a mixture of Espanol and local Indian dialects, and then they speak so very fast. I thought I understood as fast as it goes, but of course between the speed, the mixing of the language and the colloquial terms, and the fact that they don't really care that you are not from the DR, you don't understand their brand of Spanish, they're not very accommodating. Here, it was a welcome change to hear better Spanish, clearer pronunciations, and of course, persons who, you know, I think were just a little better at communicating. So, yeah, that's my take right there. Of course, as you know, Sheri has lots to say, and so I look forward to sharing more and more and more with you. But until we catch up again, ciao for now.